It's time to remove the mystery from medicine, to seize control of one's health, and to genuinely comprehend the essence of terms like wellness and wholeness. The Ask Dr. Jill podcast provides information, knowledge, and empowerment information to empower you to be wholly well. Dr. Jill Waggoner has nearly 3 decades of medical practice and has a deep-rooted belief in diverse approaches to patient care, well beyond conventional medicine. This realization has fueled her lifelong pursuit of understanding a holistic perspective on health.
Hi, how are y'all today? Thank y'all so much for coming again to do some more time with me. Ask Dr. Jill. Y'all knew that already, but I just thought I'd say it to you anyway. So how are you doing on your 2024, resolutions? How are you doing with all those things that you were supposed to change? We're a few weeks into the year. And so this is the time of year when you start to fall off. You know, when you go to the gym. I haven't gone to the gym in years because I work out at home, y'all. I do work out. But anyway, when you go to the gym, you know, at the beginning, at the beginning of the year, there are people everywhere. They are like strung all in the corners and they are going for broke. And then in about 3 or 4 weeks, you can get on the treadmill again. So it should be, you can get on the treadmill again time. We are approaching it anyway. So I hope you guys are doing good and hanging in there. I hope some of y'all joined our Daniel Fast group on Facebook. We had a really good group on Facebook. And what I want you guys to know is, I'm going to leave the information up. So we have all of those files and they'll still be there. And you actually, if you didn't do it with the rest of the group, day 1 through 21 will still be there. And so you can go and actually do it yourself or do it with a smaller group of people. Just go in and rewatch the lives. So today I have good stuff for you. I am going to talk about diets. And one of the reasons that I want to talk about diets is, you know, coming off the Daniel Fast. Whenever you're talking about how you're going to eat and how you're going to eat healthy, the question always comes up, Dr. Jill, should I be vegan? Dr. Jill, should I be, you know, pescatarian? Should I be Should I be whatever else tarian? So I thought it would be a great time for us to just talk about the various kinds of meal plans, diets, etc., that there are out there, so you can know what it is. So if you're deciding you're going to be something, you need to know what that something is, and B, know whether it's for you. So we're going to talk about 4 things today. We're going to talk about vegan diets and vegetarian diets. We're going to talk about pescatarian diets. And then we're going to talk about keto. So again, if you have any questions or any other episodes that you want us to do, things that you want us to talk about, please drop us a line and make a suggestion. And we try to answer all your questions. So if you have a pressing question, please let us know. So I'm going to start with veganism. There have been so many people that are talking about veganism and whether you should be vegan. It's like diet is a religion now. You know, if you're not vegan, then, oh my God, you're some horrible person. If you're not keto, what are you thinking about? You know, eating that corn. Oh, heaven forbid, that corn could kill you. But so let me start by talking about veganism so you'll know what that is. First of all, veganism, you see, I say veganism like it's Catholicism or Christianity or something like that. That's not what I mean. But being a vegan for many people is beyond the food. So that's what's really important to know, is that when you're talking about being a vegan, then you're not just talking about the food, but you're also talking about aspects that have to do with, you know, what do you think? Cruelty to animals. It has to do with what do you think about the planet and what are we doing with our food sources and all of that. Those kinds of things. So you have to know that that's included. I actually had somebody recently say to me, I had on some of the faux leather pants and she said, oh, is that vegan leather? And I thought, well, yeah, I guess. I guess if that's what you want to call it, vegan leather. But anyway, it has to do with a lot of things. So just changing what you eat, just for the sake of changing what you eat, does not really fully encompass the spirit of being a vegan. So let's talk about what's on the table when you are a vegan. At the heart of the vegan diet is a colorful diet full of plants, fruits, and vegetables, and it's nutrient packed. So I call it when you eat trash and it's just not animal stuff, that you can be a junk vegan or a vegetarian, which means that you eat junk food and you just call it something different. But it's important that you have a nutrient-based diet that's packed with a lot of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and things that promote overall well-being. That's really, really important. So what's on the table? The first thing is whole grains. Things like quinoa and brown rice and oats and barley, cooked in a way that you get the most nutrients out of them, and that you don't disrupt the fiber or the complex carbohydrates. It's those kinds of foods are really important for sustaining your energy. And then the other thing is legumes and pulses. Now, a lot of people have not a clue what a pulse is, but you know what legumes are. Legumes are beans and lentils and chickpeas and those kinds of things. But a pulse is an edible seed from the legume. So that means the whole bean is the legume, the pod inside the bean is a pulse. So it's a technicality. Don't even worry about it. But anyway, that's what you want to have. The other thing is nuts and seeds. You want to have lots of nuts and seeds in your diet. They add crunch. They're good in protein. Some of them are good in healthy fat. So that's a real good thing that you want to do. Then you want to have plant-based protein. Now, let me say this to you. Whenever you start talking about anything vegan or vegetarian, the protein police come and get you. And they also always say, what are we going to do for protein? Every plant has protein in it. So can we just get that off the table? But there are some concentrated plant forms of protein. Those tend to be things like tofu and tempeh. They are really, really high in protein. Lentils are really high in protein. So you want to make sure that you get good protein sources so that you can have healthy protein, particularly in people that are aging. When you are aging, one of the things that happens as we get older, we lose our lean muscle mass. So you want to make sure that you have your lean muscle mass. And then there's no dairy. So on the table, you want to do maybe some of the plant substitutes like plant milks, maybe some soy, almond, coconut, something like that. Some people do things like vegan cheese. There are a bunch of people that say don't do anything processed if you're really going to be vegan. So you want to think about that. So what's off the table? What you cannot have if you're a vegan? There are no animal products. So none. Yes, fish, and fish is animal. I don't know why people ask me that. I'll say, well, you shouldn't have any animal protein for a while. And they say, fish? Yeah, fish. Fish counts too. So no fish, no seafood, no eggs, no dairy products. All of that's off the thing. Y'all having your tea? I'm having my tea. Oh, today I'm drinking hibiscus tea. We're going to have a whole segment where we talk about teas. But anyway, I'm having some tea. Wait just a minute. Let me have some. That is so good. Okay, anyway, the other thing that you don't want to have is honey. What? Honey? When you are a true vegan, you do not include honey because honey comes from bees. Okay? You can take your own time and do your research, and you can go into that as deep as you want to. I am just the reporter of the news. I don't make the news. And then the other thing is gelatin. There are a lot of people don't think about gelatin. Gelatin is made from collagen, and collagen comes from animals. So you can't have any gelatin if you're really, really vegan. You can do other things. I know I skipped back and forth, but other things to sweeten. You don't want to do honey, but you can do other things like maple syrup or agave nectar or date syrup or date sugar, some of those things. So there you have it. The other thing, if you're vegan, you want to be careful with additives. There are a lot of additives that are derived from animal sources. So if you're going deep and really making the commitment for veganism, you want to learn what additives are an issue as well. So that's veganism. I want to say to you, though, before we move on to vegetarianism, that if you are really thinking about becoming a vegan, make sure that you know what that includes so that you can prepare yourself for everything. So the next common and I'll say popular diet is vegetarianism. So there are a lot of people who are vegetarian, and I see a lot of young people who are vegetarian, and sometimes I worry about it because the other stuff I see them eat. I was listening to somebody the other day, and they gave a real good way to tell whether a food is good for you, whether it is actually a food or whether it is a food-like substance, which means that it's ultra processed. If you look at the back of the ingredients on a package, if you would recognize that food by what the ingredients are without a picture on the front, you could just look at it. You don't know what it looks like. You could tell it was food, then it's food. If you look at a long list of ingredients and it's got dyes and chemicals and you would not have a clue what that was unless you saw it, it is not food. Put that down. Isn't that neat? I think that is really good. So on peas, it should say peas and water. Without a picture of what is in the package at all, you would know what it was peas and it was edible. If it has, number 17 this and all of these acids and all of those things, and you think, what in the world is this? That is not something that you need to eat. I think that is a great rule of thumb. And you can kind of tell your children that as well, because they need to learn what's good for them. Now, if you teach your children that this is what is going to happen, they're going to look at this and say, Mommy, I can't eat this because this does not really say what it is. So be prepared, which is a good thing because you can educate them. So vegetarianism, what is vegetarianism? Vegetarianism is just that. It is a diet full of vegetables. You just eat good, healthy food. It is omitting certain things and adding certain things. It doesn't have all of the environmental components and, the animal cruelty components in it generally. It's a little more flexible. That's not to say that vegetarians don't believe in those same things, but they tend not to be, or the diet is not as strict as veganism. So what's on the table? Vegetables and fruit and abundant vegetables, abundant plants. So a cornerstone is color. Some of you have heard me say before that my grandmother always balanced our meals by color. So she said, you cannot eat all white stuff. You got to have something red and something yellow and something green. And that's how she balanced our diet and did an excellent job of it. So you want to make sure that when you eat, you have a colorful array of vegetables, because the colors represent phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, and it's just a powerhouse of things that's good for the body. So you want to do that. You again want to do whole grains. You want to do, again, the quinoa, brown rice, bulgur, oats, all of those good things. And you want to know how to prepare them. I want to take a second and tell you too, you don't want the most processed form. So for instance, when you do oatmeal, there's the steel cut oats, and then there's rolled oats, and then there's quick oats, and then there's that in the package oat stuff. The in the package oat stuff is oat powder. It is so ultra processed. It has so much stuff in there. The fiber has been completely destroyed, just does not have the same health benefits. So be aware of that. I know you're busy. I know we're talking about how to have a busy life and to take care of ourselves, but you really want to be aware of that. And then you want to have the beans and lentils and chickpeas and pulses and all of that stuff. as well, and nuts and seeds. Keep some nuts and seeds with you, because if you get hungry and you're thinking, oh, I'll have, a candy bar or something like that, when you're really trying to be well and be healthy, you can grab something and eat it, and nuts are easy, and you can grab them until you can get to something else. And also those plant-based proteins. Now, there is a group of vegetarians that are something called lacto-ovo vegetarians. So lacto meaning milk and ovo meaning eggs. Those are people that they have a predominantly plant-based diet, but they also eat eggs and milk from animals. So you just want to think about that. Maybe you want to start there. So, and the same things that are omitted as with the vegan diet, the meat, poultry, seafood, gelatins, and those additives. Okay. Y'all good on that? Okay, let's get to a pescatarian diet. Pescatarian means that it's all of the good stuff that's in a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet, but now you've added fish and seafood to it. So there are a lot of people who choose not to eat, red meat or white meat, but they will eat seafood. Those people are generally pescatarians. A pescatarian diet is usually very high in omega-3s, which is a very good supplement and good for the body, omega-3 fatty acids. So this is the kind of thing that you should have on a pescatarian diet. What's on the menu? Plant foods, vegetables, fruit, grains, all of that, and fish, salmon, mackerel, trout, all of those things are high in omega-3s. You also can do shellfish like shrimp and crab and lobster. This is what you have to remember about that. For some people, it's a real issue because they're so high in cholesterol. So that may be an issue. Also, where your fish and seafood is sourced, where does it come from? You want a source of seafood that's not high in mercury, because that can really cause some issues for you. So you want to be careful with that. What's off the table with the pescatarian diet is meat. White meat, red meat, pink meat, whatever meat, yellow meat. They're saying yellow meat. Okay, anyway. That was a joke, y'all. What is associated with good, healthy things, the good, healthy fish, the good, healthy seafood, but you do not want to have any kind of meat. And that also includes chicken, because sometimes people think, well, does meat mean chicken? Yes, meat means chicken or poultry. You don't have any of that as well. And with all of these meal plans, you want to stay away from things that are processed. Just stay away from highly processed food. Now, you could technically say that all food that we buy in the supermarket has been processed in some way. When I say highly processed, that means has it been shaped into, turned into, created, any of that? Is it not real food? And you do not want those kinds of things, because they tend to have chemicals in them that are not good for your body and changes the way your hormones react. And so therefore changes what your body does with that food. And then the final thing is keto. Okay. Just like there are vegan folk who worship veganism, there are also folk who worship keto. And if you want to get into a real argument, you get between some scientists. I have been at those conferences, and you got the keto folk lined up over here and the vegan folk lined up over here, and they just go at it. So keto means the diet that produces ketosis. And so let me tell you a little bit about what ketosis is. Ketosis is when your body switches from using sugar as an energy source, and then it only uses fat as an energy source. When your body metabolizes metabolizes fat or breaks that fat down, then you produce something called ketones. And that therein becomes the name ketosis. And you can use the ketones as energy sources. So what things are on the keto diet when you want to do lots of fats are part of the keto diet, but the recommendation is heavy fats, things like coconut oil, avocado, which is really rich in healthy fats, nuts, seeds, olive oil, all of those things, because when you do the oils, that also helps you to get into ketosis quickly. Lots of protein, meat protein, poultry, fish, eggs, and people who talk about ketosis and a ketogenic diet are generally people that are really worried about making sure that they have enough lean muscle mass and that their body is lean, that they don't have a lot of fat. So that's important. You can do some carbohydrate-rich foods on a keto diet, but they need to be low carbohydrate vegetables. So things like leafy greens and broccoli and cauliflower, the non-starchy vegetables, I guess is the best way to say that. It provides some carbohydrates. It provides enough stuff in terms of sugars for your body to continue to function, but not so much that it throws you out of ketosis. And full fat dairy. So no low fat dairy, full fat dairy, it is this meal plan that makes a lot of people really excited about the ketogenic diet. What's off the table when you're doing a ketogenic diet, you drastically limit your carbohydrates. So let me stop right here and tell you what carbohydrates are. Generally, when people are talking about carbs in today's society, they're talking about bread and they're talking about pasta. Those are carbohydrates, but every vegetable and every fruit, every grain is also a carbohydrate. So you can see when you say, I'm not eating any carbs, you need to know what it is that you're not doing and understand that there are some very healthy carbohydrate foods as well. And so when you're talking about keto, you want to get rid of those manufactured or those simple carbohydrates like sugars and those foods that are have very simple carbohydrates. The other thing that you want to limit or to get rid of on a ketogenic diet is refined sugar. No sugar, no sugar, no sugar. Just none. Yes, none. I know. No sugar, not a little bit, not a teaspoon in your coffee, not anything, just no sugar at all. And you've got to know that because anytime you're trying to be in a ketogenic state, your body is in ketosis. Anytime you introduce any sugar into it, it pulls you out of that, pulls you out of fat burning, and then you go start over. And all processed foods, even on the ketogenic diet, just they're not in the diet. And part of that is because in many processed food, they put so many sugars, because when you are creating something that's not really food and trying to make it palatable, then you either got to put fat or sugar in there. Otherwise, it'll just be cardboard. So they put a lot of sugars in there and a lot of not necessarily good fats in there as well. I think it's important too for us to take at least a moment to talk about the ketogenic diet and where it came from. It actually had a medical beginning. So it was originally developed in the 1920s. And it was designed to treat epilepsy. So in people who had epilepsy and lots of seizures, what they found was when you put them on a ketogenic diet where their brain is only using fat and ketones as an energy source, then it calms the brain down. So that's where it originally started. And then they recognized that also those people, because they were burning fat, did not have a problem with the weight. And so thus it kind of went over into the weight loss area. So let me talk about when you are trying to transition to any of these new eating plans. The first thing that I say to anybody who's making a major health change, always know your why. Why are you doing it? What do you want to accomplish? If you know your why, then you are much more likely to get to the right plan for you. So first thing, what am I doing and why? Is it that my cholesterol is too high? Is it that I'm overweight? Is it that I have a family history of diabetes? Is it that I have a family history of heart disease? Look at what meal plan will, and there's science for all of them. What meal plan will help you get to where you need to be optimally healthy? So the first thing, know your why. The second thing is to do your research. So when you do your research, you really know what it is you are trying to accomplish and how to get there. Because if you don't know, number one, what you're trying to do, and then you haven't done research, you don't know how to get there. And when I say research, Googling is okay, but then you've got to read some studies and look at that, and maybe even talk to a nutritionist, and definitely talk to your healthcare provider to say, this is what I'm trying to do. For instance, if you're trying to come off medications. So how can I change my diet, and how will that help me come off these medications? So that's the first thing. The other thing is to start gradually. You will do not just say, okay, I'm never going to eat another piece of meat in my life, and so I'm going to stop just right today, and think that it is not going to be a struggle. Maybe you want to get rid of, if you're trying to become vegan, for instance, you want to get rid of red meat first, and then you want to go and eliminate fish first. And as you do that, you will figure out how to make adjustments and what to do so that you continue to have good, balanced meals. You'll figure out what to do so that you can get there, not get ill. You can get there and it's not real stressful, and you can accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So start gradually. The other thing is you must get creative in the kitchen. So if you don't cook, and you want to do one of these really clean eating plans, if you don't cook, then somebody has to cook for you. Or where are you going to get those foods? Because if you don't have a plan in place for how to do it, how to maintain it, you'll just go on it and off it, and on it and off it. And no matter what plan you choose, the most important thing is consistency. And so if you're not consistent, you're not going to be as successful as you like. The other thing is to connect with other people who do it already. So if you know people who are vegans and they've been vegans for years and they are healthy vegans, then talk to them about, what do I do? How did you learn to cook? Are there any things that you've stayed away from? There are support groups online. Like I said, I just did the Daniel Fast Facebook group. And so we were a community of people that we got together every morning. I gave them some words, gave them a motivation word every day. And it helps when you have another group of people. You can share recipes, you can share resources, places that you go to get the best kind of food. The other thing is there are some communities, there are some religions, there are some ethnicities where eating more fruits and vegetables are part of their culture. Then you may want to have some of those foods. You may want to try Ethiopian food or some other foods other than things you've tried before. So that opens up another world to you. And when you connect with those communities, you'll be able to see that. And then finally, I said this before, get with a nutritionist. Because if you have a good nutritionist, not somebody who's just going by what they've been given as a checkoff list, but somebody who really can help you with knowing how much nutrition you get with this, how do you get your protein, how do you get your healthy fats, how do you get those things that you need to do, what do you drink, how do you prepare those foods. Also, talking with a good chef will be good as well, so that you'll know how to prepare those foods. So I hope this has been great for you. Knowing what those different plans are can really help you in preparing as you go forward. Your number one goal always has to be health. What is your why? But overall, but generally, you've got to be going toward being your healthiest self, because the strong physical body also helps you to stay mentally strong, which also helps you to be able to accomplish the things that you were sent here to accomplish. So if you got any questions, again, you can follow me, all things Ask Dr. Jill, Ask Dr. Jill on YouTube, and Ask Dr. Jill on Facebook and Instagram and the threads. Ask Dr. Jill on everything. And if you have any questions, anything that you want me to answer for you, I will do the best I can. Remember, I am not your doctor. I am just sharing good advice with you. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a marvelous day.